Welcome to the Bag Maker's Workroom. I am Chris with Simply Classic, and today is Thursday, March 20th, 2025. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. So spring is in the air, I guess, a little bit, right? In some places, obviously, I think today maybe even be the first day of spring. We are always so happy that you took a little time out of your day to join us live. If you cannot join us live, no worries. You can watch the recording on YouTube at any time. We want to make sure that you subscribe, click the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video or when we go live. So we see Rinda is here. She says, hello, everyone. Nancy is joining us from New Hampshire. It is the first day of spring. All right. And Leslie is here. Happy spring. Snow flurries for us in Tennessee, though. Oh, my goodness. We had a little bit of rain today. But here in Georgia, if any of you have ever been to the Augusta area, between now and about the first week, maybe second week in April, it's like it snows pollen. Everything is yellow everywhere. It is just awful. We're all sniffling and sneezing and kind of struggling here. I mean, it's just kind of part of spring for us. And there's that 4 to 5 week period where it is just awful. So anyway, that's what we're going through. So it could be worse, we know, but we're a little yellow these days. So we are going to tonight talk about some updates in the Simply Classic Scoop. We're also going to talk about our featured product, which is the Fairhaven pattern. And of course, you can see a couple of different variations of the Fairhaven here. I'm going to show you some recommendations for some leather, faux leather, and lining that pair nicely together. I'll demonstrate a technique that I use to reduce bulk in my straps, especially when you're actually stitching your strap to your bag, kind of like what you see here. And then in the Thursday thread, we're going to talk about the history of Brahmin bags, because the Fairhaven is actually, the inspiration came from a Brahmin bag. We're going to feature some of our customers in Artistry Avenue, and then at the end of the episode, we'll be giving away some PDF patterns for the Fairhaven. So make sure you stick around for that, and that is open worldwide. So if you have any questions during the live stream, please ask them in the chat. If we can't get to them right away, we'll save them for our Q&A at the end of the episode. So we are going to start out with the Simply Classic Scoop. And this is the segment where we share what's new here at Simply Classic, what events we'll be attending, and maybe some things going on behind the scenes. So we want to remind you that September 12th and 14th, we will be in Sacramento. Tickets and classes are on sale now. I'm teaching classes every day. It's going to be a busy few days for me. Friday morning is the Julie. Saturday morning is the Simply Classic Clutch. Saturday afternoon, I'll be teaching the Addie, which you can see here. This is a bag by Purse Crafters. It is not a Simply Classic pattern, but it does have a double flat front, which I think is really cool. And then Sunday afternoon, we'll be teaching the Sorella. So when you go onto the website and you purchase your class, you're actually just paying for the class itself. We are going to invoice you directly for your class kit. So if you've already signed up, you have received an invoice already via email for that class kit. If you are taking the Addie, then Purse Crafters will be actually sending you the invoice for the class kit. They'll be providing that. Okay, we have a save the date for you, and this is the retreat that I will be doing with Barbie from Genie Designs. It is October 23rd through 25th. And what I need to tell you is that the announcement for the cost and when tickets are going to go on sale is going to be on Tuesday, March 25th. So that's this Tuesday. So make sure you look at our Facebook group and or Barbie's Facebook group, and you will see that information posted there. There is only 11 seats available. Now, again, the tickets do not go on sale March 25th. On March 25th, we're telling you how much the class is going to be and when the tickets are going to be going on sale. Okay? And then, of course, we'll be adding the info to our events page, so you can go ahead and check that out. We also want to remind you that we have 2 online classes coming up that we are super excited about. In April, I'll be having another class with the bandit bag, which I know a lot of you have already taken. And then we are also going to, in May, be looking and working on the lacy. So I'm going to show you here. This is a red lacy that I made. This is one of the options. You're going to learn how to use kangaroo lace to do some different techniques. We have a Mexican braid to attach the gusset to the front and the back. We also have another style of lacing here in the flap. And the lacing has, of course, an Italian leather exterior. On the inside, we have a slip pocket, and it is lined with bonded leather, which is the Salpa stiffener. Okay. The other class that we're giving is the bandit bag. And just a quick story before we go into about the bandit bag. Well, last year we had someone take the class. Her name's Michelle, and she posted in the Facebook group this photo here that we want to show you. She said, "You are ahead of the game. This is a bag I saw when scrolling through the current designs just online, and the bandit bag is really on target. This is an Annika tote by Bell & Fox, and it looks so much like the bandit with the side ties. Now, they made theirs a little bit differently, and their version is a little bit bigger and not as structured. But still, you can see there's a lot of similarities. So you can certainly recreate this bag with the skills you learned in the bandit class. And I just thought that was really cool, and I really want to thank Michelle for sharing that photo. So let's get back to the classes. The bandit bag class, I have one here in hot pink that a student made. And this is actually, there's 2 classes left. We're almost sold out, and they're both in hot pink. And it does have a hot pink hair on high here on the side. And this is someone who made the bag who has never sewn at all before. Not only has never sewn leather, but has never sewn a bag, never sewn anything at all. So it really is a beginner-friendly class. In the class, you are going to receive an exclusive Simply Classic pattern that will never be released outside of the class. There are 6 pre-recorded video lessons. There are 3 live Zoom check-ins. There is lifetime access to your student portal, and of course, the class kits with materials. So the banda, again, as I mentioned, we only have 2 seats left. They're both hot pink. The last day to register is this Sunday, March 23rd. It is for beginners, so if you've never worked with leather before, it's really a great bag to make or to go ahead and sign up for. We're obviously going to help you make it. The class kit includes Italian leather, stiffeners, lining, hardware. It does include the glue, base coat, edge paint, all the applicators, silver marking pen, and of course more. The lacy is for confident beginners, so it's great if you've worked with leather in the past and you just want to learn some new techniques. The color options that we have are distressed russet, elephant gray, the textured red, which is the one I just showed you, and then a very dark brown embossed ostrich. They're all gorgeous. This class kit includes the Italian leather, kangaroo lacing, stiffeners, hardware, silver marking pen, and more. It does not include any glue, base coat, edge paint, or applicators. But if you are continuing on your leather journey, these are things you're going to want to get and keep in your workroom anyway. So, it's time to go ahead and do that and get those things. And we do have a sourcing guide that we're going to provide to you so you can find these things easily and get what you need before the class starts. So make sure you check out our events page, because the classes, these online classes, of course, as well as the in-person events that we're attending, are all listed there. And just, kind of keep going back and visiting and seeing what we have going on. Last thing we want to remind you about is our quarterly mystery subscription box is on sale now. So as you may or may not know, basically every quarter we have a quarterly mystery subscription box, and there's a sign-up period the last 2 weeks of every quarter. So the sign-up period for this quarter ends on March 31st. In every box that you get, you're going to get a brand new Simply Classic pattern, and you can see here on the bottom of the slide, you can see past bags. One was the Busta, another one was the Luso, and then another one was the Sienna. And another one was the Sorella. I mean, we're always coming out with really cool patterns. And we also have other hand-picked goodies. Of course, course, in the kit, you're going to, in addition to a PDF copy of the pattern, you're also going to get the faux leather lining and hardware. And this is always going to be a faux leather bag. We have a really special product in this quarter's bag, or this quarter's box, that I'm excited about. So it's something we don't carry in the store, but we sourced it specifically for you. So I think you know, sometimes we try to go out and get some cool things for you, extra special things, and this box definitely has that. There's 2 ways to pay. You can either sign up for an annual subscription, which you will basically pay the whole 4 quarters ahead of time. The benefit of that is you only pay shipping on the first box, and then we cover shipping for the other 3. That is open to U.S. residents only. Or you can pay by quarter. What will happen is your credit card will automatically be charged each quarter for the box and shipping. And once that charge comes through, we will go ahead and ship the box. It has been a whole year since our first subscription box. So if you signed up last March, your annual subscription has ended. We actually sent out emails, and you should have received an email on Saturday reminding you to resubscribe. You might want to check your spam box because sometimes they end up there. If you'd like to keep getting your quarterly boxes and you know, it's time to resubscribe if you subscribed last March. So let's take a quick look on how you can check that. You can go onto our website, simplyclassic.net. In the upper right-hand side, you're going to click Login and go ahead and log into your account. You're going to click up in the upper right-hand side one more time, and you're going to either look at your orders if you did an annual subscription, or excuse me, an annual payment, or you're going to do My Subscriptions if you pay quarterly. Both of those options are there. You're going to see the green is if you paid annually, you'll be able to go back and look at your orders and see if you purchased or not. And then if you have a subscription that charges each quarter, it's going to be like that yellow there. You're going to click on subscriptions and you'll be able to see. So again, you know, this ends March 31st. You still have a little bit of time, but don't wait. Go ahead and get your box and we'll get it shipped out to you. This box is one of our favorites, I think, so far. Here in the shop, we love this one. So now we're going to talk about our featured products. And if you joined us last week, you know that we started featuring a pattern of the week. So every week on Thursday, we're going to put a different PDF pattern on sale for $12.49. And this week it's the Fairhaven, which of course is kind of what we're talking about today. The Fairhaven is a classy bag that features an attractive woven front panel on the front of the bag if you choose. Okay, that's written into the pattern if you'd like to do that. It is for non-fraying textiles such as cork, vinyl, or leather or faux leather. Depending on the materials you use, you can either use it on a high-end domestic machine or sew it on a high-end domestic machine or an industrial machine. So the inspiration for the Fairhaven was a Brahmin bag, and you can see it here on the left. And it's called the Petra 2. And what really stood out to me was this woven front panel. In the Fairhaven pattern, of course, like I said, I include that option to do that woven front panel. So if you have ever made it Fairhaven, go ahead and make a note in the chat. Let us know whether or not you've made it and what you made it out of, because I always love to know that and like to see what you have made. So I'm going to grab this Fairhaven here off the shelf, and we're going to show you kind of an overview of the Fairhaven. Now this is a leather kit we have. It's called, I think, an H leather. And as you can see in this version here, we did it all in one leather, all in one color. But you can see from these other ones here, we did one in a mix and match kind of color where the bottom was one color and the sides are something different. And then in this one here, we actually did the bottom different. We added straps all the way down to the bottom. Our sides are a different color than our center. So, you know, you can really mix and match and do a lot of different things with this Fairhaven. We're going to look at the overhead just so I can show you the inside real quick. We do have a question from Robin. She said she made it from vinyl, sublimated a fashion go on the front, and carried it to Florida when she met me. Aha! Yes. Do you remember that? Fairhaven is a great bag to really feature something on that front panel too if you don't want to do a woven panel. So this is a tote bag. I mean, you can see it's fairly large. The actual dimensions are 13 inches wide. It is 12.5 inches tall and 5 inches deep, okay? So it is fairly large. The handle drop is about 16 inches, and it is for a confident beginner. Again, you've got on this side here, you have a zipper and slip pocket, and then over here on this side, I have a double slip pocket. It is connected, or you do close it with some magnetic snaps, okay? So we love the Fairhaven. The Fairhaven is just a really great size bag. It is $12.49 this week only. Sale ends next Wednesday, March 26th. So you don't need a coupon code. The discount's automatically applied. And this is for the PDF version only. We do offer hardware kits for the Fairhaven. They're bronze, nickel, and gunmetal. And this is a very light hardware bag. There's not a lot of hardware on it. Everything is in the description below to buy the hardware kit, the leather kit, the pattern, everything is down there for you. So we're going to look at perfect pairings. And in this segment, we like to pair some of our leather and faux leather with matching lining and thread. We know when you're shopping online, it can be really hard to figure out what goes together because the color's on the screen. So this is our way to help you do that. So we have some new fabric lining in the store. So we're going to kind of do our perfect pairings around those. And as a lot of you know, last year we started carrying 100% cotton fabric by Tilda, which is a Norwegian designer, Norwegian brand. Their products are really excellent quality, and they are really amazing for bag linings. So we are going to go ahead and take a look at the ones that we have and what we suggest. So the first thing we suggest is and we're going to show you two different colors here, because if you would like to do a woven panel, we think that the two colors would be a good option. Here is our steel blue solid faux, and then we think that really pairs well with mushroom. And the reason why we chose those two together is because of some of our new lining we just got in. This is called Harper Blue, and it is the Tilda fabric. We suggest bronze hardware with this. And then, believe it or not, the color of thread that matches with it the best is chocolate brown. And of course, the chocolate brown comes in both the text 70 and the text 45. So we think this would make an amazing Fairhaven, or possibly, of course, any other bag that you may want to make. So we're going to show you a leather option now. And the leather option is, we're just kind of sticking with blues today. It's a beautiful navy. Go ahead and pull this over. And the color that we suggest putting with it is this cream. We have a really pretty cream color leather, and we just really think that the navy and the cream go really well together. We suggest nickel hardware for this. And the other lining that is new here in the store is this night blue medium dots. And we just think that really pairs well together. And then, of course, we would suggest the navy thread. Both text 45 and text 70 are available in navy. So one thing I want to remind you about is we always talk about a leather pairing, and a lot of you might not know how to convert from yardage to square feet. And so we have this conversion guide on our website. If you go into resources, you're going to be able to find it, and it is going to list every Simply Classic pattern and tell you how much square footage you need for that pattern. And you see here we have exact, we have recommended, and then if it typically has an accent color, we also have that on there as well. Okay, our next segment, we're going to talk about sharpen your skills. And this is where I share some of my favorite bag tips for bag making. Today I'm going to show you how to reduce bulk when you're making handles. And I use this technique when making this Fairhaven. So we're going to pull this into the overhead for just a minute, and I want to show this to you. So when you make a bag like this, where you take your handles and you actually stitch them to the front of your bag, you really want don't want 4 layers of handle in this part. And what I mean is, typically you have a piece of faux leather, you fold it in half, and then you fold it in half again to get your handle. That's a lot of bulk here in the front. So basically, if you did that, you'd have 4 layers of bulk here. You'd have your layer of your actual main bag. And in this case, we actually have this sewn into the bottom, so you actually have another seam and layer here. So whenever I do handles like this, I always like to use this method because it provides for a seamless transition. So I think you can see here, there's actually no seam at all. This handle literally starts here, it goes all the way up, around, and back down with no seams. So how do you do that to get 2 layers of handle here and 4 layers of handle up here where you grab? I'm going to show you that today. So before I do, let me show you what you need to measure. You need to figure out how much of the handle is going to be on your bag. Okay, so what I would do is measure from wherever it's going to attach here at the bottom, all the way up to about 1 inch to 1.5 inches from the top. So whatever that measurement is, you're going to need to know that for both sides of your handle, because I'm actually cutting 1 long piece of faux here. Okay. I want the center of this to be 4 layers, but I want the 2 sides that are being sewn to be 2 layers. So this is really an important measurement here. So we're going to take a small piece of faux leather that I have, and we're going to just pretend this is super long. And let's say that in the bag you have 10 inches that you want to sew to the front of your bag. You have, it doesn't matter, 12 inches here in the center that you're going to grab onto, and then let's say another 10 inches. So you need to measure out that 10 inches and mark it from each short edge. Then you need to mark 1 inch from each long edge. Okay, you have this pattern here. Now, again, on your bag, chances are this center section is going to be a lot longer, a lot wider. This is what you're going to have. Then what you're going to do is draw a line down the center. Okay, so here's another option here. And so what I did was just literally, like a regular handle, drew a line right down the center. And I cut out the 4 corners, as you can see here. So this is 1 inch cutouts by as long as you need, or as long as you're planning on attaching to your bag. In our example, we said 10 inches. Okay, so here, 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 here. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take some double-sided tape, and you're going to put the double-sided tape along just these outer edges. So again, in this case, in our example, maybe that's 24 inches, 10, or 12 inches, whatever it may be, but it's going to be the part of the handle that you grab onto. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that on there. And then the other thing I'm going to do is you can either do, I always like to usually do 2 layers of 1/4 inch double-sided tape, but just like pretend that you have pieces here, and you're just going to, however you typically do your handles, you're going to go ahead and put the double-sided tape on. I always like to put the tape a little bit away from the line and all the way down the handle. Okay, so this is what we have. So what you need to do is to take the double-sided tape off of this section first, and you're going to fold this section to your line. So I think you all can see my lines here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, okay? And you can see, I'm zooming too much. You can see the line. I'm going to fold this edge up so that I meet that line. Okay, just like that. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Okay. Now from here, we are going to remove the backing off the tape of the center, and we're going to fold these edges in just as we would to the center, like we normally would. And of course, when we do that, it is going to essentially grab, let me pull this double-sided tape off too, it's going to grab this edge that we folded over, and it's going to stick it down about a little more than halfway onto the handle. Okay, so this here's what we have. So now we're going to do the same thing with this side. We're going to go ahead and pull this up, put it to, make it have it meet in the middle, and you'll see that this edge ends up folding all the way over, and it will meet your other edge. Okay. And now we typically put a couple wonder clips in here. So what you're going to do now is you're going to stitch this part of the handle, okay, all the way down. Stop here, because when you attach this to your bag, which you typically are going to, let's pretend we have a little bag here. Once you attach this to your bag, you're going to pick up where you left off, and you're going to stitch the rest of the way down for each side. And then you're going to have 4 layers of handle here and only 2 layers of handle here. Now, this is a really great opportunity for you to get creative with these handles as well. So, for instance, in this bag here, let me zoom out a little bit. These handles are just ways to get creative. So what you could do is once you attach this to your bag, even before you attach it to your bag, when you have 2 layers, you can go ahead and maybe punch some holes and do some kind of woven design on here. I actually have a video where I show you how to do this on a bag, and I weave a chain onto the handle, and we've linked that down below. But this is an opportunity to get creative. So, you know, y'all are very, very creative, and y'all sew very, very well. And so I think that what you can do is just kind of take that and run with it, and I'm anxious to see what you come up with there. Okay, tonight on the Thursday thread, we are going to talk about the history of Brahmin bags. So as you know, in the Thursday thread, we share a sewing story or something, a story from me, story from you, and of course lately we've been doing a lot of history. So because the Fairhaven was inspired by a Brahmin, that's what we're going to do. So Brahmin is a newer brand than a lot of other designers we've talked about. They actually launched in 1982 in Massachusetts. So we're talking about another American brand like Dooney & Bourke. On the pyramid of luxury brands, they're really what we consider accessible luxury category because their bags are relatively affordable. So since the beginning, Brahmin's signature has always been their Melbourne croc embossed leather. And you can see some photos of it here. They use a lot of very vibrant colors and interesting finishes, like metallics, for example. And their croc has a lot of texture to it. And if you've ever gone into a store or maybe you have a Brahmin bag, you know there's a lot of texture to it on that leather. So if you're looking for something similar in a faux leather, what I recommend is we have a crocodile ostrich, or we like to call it crocstridge. That's how we kind of refer to it here in the shop. And it kind of mimics that textural look of the Brahmin bag. I'm going to go to the overhead real quick and just kind of show you. And a lot of you have already probably purchased this, but you can see it's very, you can tell, but it's got some texture to it. You know, when you rub your hand, these are bumpy. Okay, and so that would be the closest thing I would recommend in a faux leather as to what, might kind of mimic that. We actually have it in 4 different colors. I think the denim gray, cream, and then this honey brown. So not all Brahmin bags use their signature Melbourne leather. They also make bags using other materials like smooth leather and embossed snake and even denim, like you can see here. And these are really, no matter what they make them out of, Brahmin bags are really gorgeous. So the company was founded by a husband and wife team, Bill and Joan Martin. And the Martins met back in high school, and they got married in 1965. Bill worked as a shoe and handbag salesman for many years, but unfortunately, he was fired in 1980 from his job. His wife, Joan, saw that not really as a setback, but more as a chance to try something new and as an opportunity. And so they started their own business. They considered selling shoes, but ultimately decided on handbags because one size fits all. They figured that shoes would be, a nightmare to stock with all the different widths and sizes, and it could be crazy. So they decided on bags. So Joan had no experience in the industry at all, but she did have good taste and she had a lot of home sewing experience. She handled the creativity side and Bill handled the logistics, and together they were really made an amazing team. In 1982, they converted their children's old playroom into a design studio, and they converted their barn into a factory. Joan designed bag patterns, and Bill cut the patterns out using Italian leather, and basically at that point, Brahmin was officially born. Now, this is interesting. I thought the name Brahmin came from the type of cattle that they basically used the leather. You know, there's a Brahmin bull or Brahmin cows out there. They have a big hump on their back, and whenever you get Brahmin leather, there's usually a big hole in the center because that's where their hump comes through. And so I thought that that's why they named the company Brahmin, but that's not the case. They chose the name Brahmin to reflect their New England roots and their customers' refined tastes. So if you're not familiar with the Brahmins, they were an elite group of upper-class families in Boston in the 1800s. A lot of them were merchants, business owners, and politicians, and here's some portraits of some of them. And you can see Governor John Adams was one, President Quincy John Adams was another, and then Governor Thomas Dudley was another Brahmin. So like so many others, the first few years were really tough for Brahmin. The Martins couldn't get a business loan, so they had to fund everything themselves. And let's kind of go back a couple of episodes. You remember, a lot of times when you start a business, banks are not going to give you the money. They want to see a way that you can repay. And if you're just starting a company, they don't really know how that's going to happen. So a lot of times you either need to put the money in personally, you need to get investors to invest, but don't depend on a bank to give you a loan because, you know, it might not happen. Basically, Joan would buy bags she liked, she would deconstruct them and learn about how to make them, right? So I think we've all been maybe in that situation before. She would travel across the country to pitch the bags to different department stores, and for years, no one wanted to buy them. They kept the company alive by using word of mouth to sell bags locally. And then Bill's mom lived in Florida, and she helped them by selling Brahmin bags out of the back of her car. Oh, I've been there. Okay, so in 1984, they sent some samples to Marshall Fields, and that kind of turned out to be their big break. Marshall Fields began selling Brahmin bags in their flagship Chicago store. Then they got picked up by Neiman Marcus and some of the other shops around the country. So now they had the opposite problem. They had to make a lot of bags, and they really didn't even have a factory. So they really struggled to keep up with demand. And that's one of the things about business in general is that, you know, your expenses and your income are never exactly matched. You always are doing this ladder thing, coming up and coming down and trying to get it all worked out. And that's just kind of part of it. But they ended up opening their first factory in Fairhaven, Massachusetts. And that's actually where I got the name Fairhaven from. So from there, it was all uphill for the Brahmin brand. We had a hard time finding photos from the early years, but we did find these newspaper ads from 1990, roughly, or sometime in the 90s. You can see here they have a grand opening ad and another ad there. So as the company has grown, they've really continued to design all of their bags in Massachusetts, although some of the production has moved overseas. In 2014, the Martins were in their 70s and they were ready to retire. That's when they hired a woman by the name of Susan Thacker as their new CEO. So they could retire and move to Florida. They said that they made bags for women. They wanted the bags or the company to be run by women because women should run the company for bags made for women, right? It's basically an all-women business. So that was really important to them. Joan and Bill continued to be involved in Brahmin operations until they sold the company in 2018. They're still part owners, but a company called Markel is the majority owner now. And Susan Thacker is still the CEO, and she has been very successful in that role. So Brahmin has grown a lot in the past decade, and because they're a private company, we don't have exact numbers on their sales, but they have increased over the past few years. They sell their bags online in department stores, and they also have several of their own boutiques. Interestingly, they do have a shop in Massachusetts, but most of their stores are in the South. So a lot of you know I live in Georgia, and Brahmin's big down here. I mean, we have a lot, every store, every big department store sells Brahmin bags, and we see people carrying Brahmin bags all the time here. So we've also started to see some more celebrities carrying Brahmin bags. So in recent years, Lupita Nyong'o and Christina Hendricks were carrying Brahmin bags, and we're so used to celebrities carrying those classic European bags like Hermes and Chanel that it's really great to see some more contemporary American brands getting some attention here. So that kind of concludes Brahmin. There's not a whole lot of history there. But Made by Misty said some of the best connections come from the back of a truck or the trunk of a car. Yes, they do. And you know, how many people or how many stories have you heard about, you know, maybe people baking or whatever they do? You know, that's how they start. I mean, you start out of your garage, you start out of your kitchen, you start out of your workroom, and your bedroom, and it kind of goes from there. So tonight we are going to move on to Artistry Avenue and feature our artist. And this is where we feature bags made by you, our customers. So each week we share photos that were posted in the Simply Classic bag making community on Facebook, or the ones that were emailed to share@simplyclassic.net. All of our Artistry Avenue featured bag makers will win a PDF pattern of your choice, and this is open worldwide. So here are our featured artists this week, and we did cheat a little bit. We went onto Instagram, and we saw that Nadine posted this Fairhaven on Instagram. Her account is Cozy Little Things in Me, and her bags are really beautiful. She added a divider with a pocket, and I do have a video on how to do that too. So check out YouTube on that. And she also attached the straps to the bag, kind of like what I just showed you on this one here. Love these colors, very classic. Love the red pop inside, and she just really did a great job. We are going to also show you a sienna that Janet made, and Janet used foam in this sienna instead of Decoville, which is a great option. I'm not sure if it's made out of suede. It almost looks like suede, but it might be cork, but it's really beautiful. She did a great job on this. So great job, Janet. And then Joni made this Fairhaven, and we just had to feature it. So the Fairhaven really provides a great spot to feature some really incredible fabrics. And this is a great example of that. She actually got these cotton, linen cotton panels from the UK. She used waterproof canvas inside her bag, leather for the handles and accents, and then linen also for the lining. So, I mean, it's just really beautiful. And what better thing to feature on there than a bull, right? Maybe that's a Brahmin, who knows? So I want to thank all of you again, all of our featured artists. If you were featured tonight, please email share@simplyclassic.net within 30 days to let us know which pattern you would like. Next month, we'd love to feature the Leah, both the little Leah and the big Leah. So if you have made a Leah, either one, go ahead and post it to the Facebook group so we can go ahead and feature you in Artistry Avenue. So we are going to go ahead and go on to Q&A, but before we do, we want to give you the keyword for the Fairhaven pattern. So we're going to give away 3 PDF patterns of the Fairhaven. This is open worldwide. So if you're watching tonight, go ahead and type the word woven into the chat, and we'll have the computer pick our winner while we're doing the Q&A. Since this is PDF, it is open worldwide, as I said, and there is 1 entry per person. So please just go ahead and type the word woven 1 time. Okay, so we are going to look at some of the questions that we have had submitted. So Fatty Apples on YouTube said, I know your Burnett, which is a Burnett 08 domestic machine, doesn't have a micro lift or super high presser foot lift like the Juki TL18. Are these things necessary for your bag patterns? So that's a really great question because it's true. The Burnett doesn't have that extra lift on the presser foot. Every bag I've made on it so far, I have not had a problem. I've been able to get it under and I've been able to, have it do what it needs to do. So I think you're going to be okay on that. We also have a question from Robin in the Facebook group, and she said, on the leather version of the Julie, when it's finished, it has a perfect box look. Mine tended to want to bow out on the side or look a little softer. So how do you achieve the perfect rectangle form-fitting look? So that's a really great question. And honestly, that's one of the main reasons why I like using leather versus faux leather is because leather tends to hold its shape. The Julie has a zipper placket at the top. I'm going to go ahead and show you a Julie real quick that we have. I'm going to hold one. And this Julie here is one that was made out of leather, and you can see what she's talking about, kind of this square look. Now, one of the things whenever you're using leather that you can do is take and actually kind of form your leather. Go ahead and kind of pinch your leather and see if you can get it to form a little bit. It's going to hold its shape again much better than faux leather. Another thing you can do is if you really want this to be boxy, and I do this a lot, is you can actually fold this in half, put it on your table, and take a hammer. Just make sure the hammer doesn't have any ridges in the, in the part that you hammer with, and go ahead and hit this a couple times. And that will kind of like disperse the leather, and it helps it hold its shape. So I would definitely try those two things. I mean, you can even see just from me pinching that, how that's kind of staying. That's just kind of part of working with leather. A really great reason to use leather is because it tends to hold its shape. I really like that. Okay, Nance Jack in the Facebook also asked a question. She said, can I put the strap connectors on the side of the Sienna? So this is really a good question, and I'm going to show you on the overhead again. We pulled the Sienna because I think what she's talking about is she is specifically asking about whether the strap connector, instead of being sewn to the front here, or when I say to the front, it's really on the front panel. Okay, so whenever you attach a strap connector, you don't want to attach it right on the side seam because it's going to end up cutting threads and your bag's going to fall apart. I have had one of my testers actually take the strap connector and put it kind of over this side piece here. And instead of putting one rivet in the middle, she put a rivet on each side of this. So it was kind of an extra wide strap connector. But make sure if you do that, you understand that what's going to happen is now these sides are going to have to be out like this. Okay, which is okay. It's just a different look. Originally the pattern was made for these sides to kind of tuck in. So it's whatever you prefer there, but it can certainly be done. Okay, and then we have another question that Caroline asked in the Facebook group, and she said, when making a strap keeper, how do you attach it to your strap? So that's a really great question, and it's one that it can be a little bit tricky. So we have a Sorella here that I'm going to go ahead and show you because we do have a couple of strap connectors on it. Let me grab it. Okay, so here is a Sorella, and I did it with a belt strap. And you can see I have two strap connectors here. I'm going to try to zoom you in some. The other way. There you go. So you see we have a strap keeper here, and we have a strap keeper here. So the first strap keeper that I put on, I typically put right inside the spot where I put the buckle. So I punch a hole for the buckle, make sure that I put the strap keeper on first, then put the buckle on, and then go ahead and rivet it in place. So now this one isn't going to move. Okay, this one is stuck there. When you actually feed this through, it feeds through this strap keeper. Now, the reason why I did that is because this is a roller buckle. It is not a center bar buckle. Center bar buckles typically have a strap keeper built in. This one did not. Then I typically put another one on, and I put this one further down. And this one, of course, can move. You can actually, pull it off. But the idea is you don't want this thing flapping around, okay, the actual strap. So you can slide this up and it helps keep your strap, next to your bag so it's not doing that. Now, what you have to do with this is you need to put it onto your strap before you attach your strap to your ring or your bag or whatever you're attaching your strap to. So I actually make the strap keeper, I slide it on, then I go ahead and attach the other side of the strap to wherever it needs to be attached to. Whenever I do these strap keepers, I usually go ahead and set them with a rivet. And these are super small rivets, like 6mm rivets. And I just go ahead and stitch, 2 lines, go ahead and get it stitched in, fold this over. They're really impossible to set on a rivet machine. You have to do it by hand. So what I would do is I would just take my base of my rivet setter and slide it underneath here, and then take the top part, put it on the top, hammer it on. It's set, and then you can slide this on and go ahead and finish up the bag. Now, there's also a rivet on the center of this one. You can't see it down in there, but it's the easiest way to get these things to stay together because you can't fit a sewing machine. You can't sew right there. It almost has to be done with a rivet. Okay, so those are really amazing questions, excellent questions. Those are the kind of questions that, obviously help everybody. So we really appreciate you asking. So Deborah asks, is there any particular brand of double stick tape that you use? So the answer to that is yes. I'm getting my double-sided tape from Wayback right now. That's WACK. But I will tell you that I am in the process of working with a company to develop our own version of this that will work on domestic machines as well as industrial machines. We'll work on both. But in the meantime, you can go to Wayback, you can check it out and find it there. Gab said, hi, Chris. Just wondering if you could take a look at the Ferragamo soft bag sometime. I've just discovered this bag, and would love to see your inspired version of it. So I hope this is okay to ask. Absolutely. I love that you send me, I get pictures on Facebook all the time. I get, questions. People send me emails with photos and questions like that, and that's fantastic. I mean, that gives me a lot of ideas and things that, you want to see. That helps me know what you want to learn and what you want to see. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and see who won tonight. We have 3 winners for the Fairhaven. So we have Gypsy Robin, Deborah G, and Tina Machito. So congratulations to all 3 of you. You have won the PDF version of the Fairhaven. So make sure that you email share@simplyclassic.net within the next 30 days to let us know that you won, and we'll go ahead and get that to you. And actually, I'm sorry, if you could do that within the next 24 hours, it's helpful because it helps us not have to try to keep up with who won when. So don't forget to submit your Simply Classic makes by posting them in the Facebook group, or you can email share@simplyclassic.net. You can also send us any requests for maybe some tips that you want to know about, topic ideas, stories, questions, whatever you may have. That's what we're here for. So we want to thank you so much again for joining us tonight, taking a little time out of your day. We really appreciate you being here. We'll return next Thursday. And until then, everybody, happy sewing.